In 1813, things moved on, and the first schoolhouse was built within Hornell. It was built with Dudley Miller as a teacher, and Uriah Stevens Jr. and George Hornell, who is the son of Judge Hornell, were also teachers. It continued to be a common school until 1873, when a graded school and free academy was established. So that went on for almost 100 years. In 1844, there was a piece of land that was purchased for $40. So $40 for a piece of land for a schoolhouse that was built between Broad and Canisteo streets. The school was built by Ira Davenport and measured 32 feet by 28 feet. An addition was added in 1885, and this became the Hornell Free Academy in 1873. And it was also known as the Old Park School.
So in 1864 was when the church was built. And then by the first church was built in 1834. By 1864, it had outgrown the little building it had, so they built a larger. The Reverend Lloyd, the pastor, felt that they needed more churches, Methodist churches in Hornell. So that's when they split, because a lot of people didn't have transportation to get up here, believe it or not. So East Avenue was started at the Bryant School, and then the church on East Avenue now, I don't know the name of the church. It used to be a Methodist church, and then down by St. James Hospital.
In the early 1800s, there were no churches in Hornellsville. Before churches were built, ministers would travel from community to community to provide services at people's homes throughout the area. In the 1830s, there were several Presbyterian churches in communities around the area, such as Bath, Almond, Canisteo, and other nearby towns. A group of men here decided that there was a need for a Presbyterian church in Hornell and started meetings in a barn owned by the Davenport family near Washington Street in July of 1832. As that was fairly crude as a meeting hall, they decided to erect a church building here in town. A local man donated 2 lots on Main Street for that purpose, which is where our current church is now located. A funny story about erecting the building is that in those days, local workers were paid in money and in whiskey. As this was going to be a church, the Temperance League in town decided payment of whiskey was not a good thing for a church. The local workers said that it would be hard to find anybody who would not work without being paid in whiskey. But the workers were located and the building got done without the whiskey.
'79 or so, and before that, people worshipped in people's homes, because starting in 1843, the first Mass was celebrated by Father Beyer at the Webb's Crossing, at the home of Thomas Dorley. So it was once a month. There were a lot of Catholics coming to the area because of the potato famine. By 1844, Beyer offered Mass at Hornellsville in Judge Thatcher's old.
The first newspaper was officially established in November 22nd, 1851, and it was called the Hornellsville Tribune, which is a much different paper than it is today, the Hornell Evening Tribune. It started because in 1851, the railroad came through, and Hornell was about to become a really bustling town. It was pretty crazy. The president even came through on the railroad on that first ride, and it was a big, exciting thing, but there was no local newspaper to cover it. So there was a lot of jealousy. There was a newspaper out of Buffalo that covered the event, but there was no local in-depth coverage.